Hello, welcome to Casual Veteran Gamer, and in the video today I'm going to be showing you Drizard Do'urTav. So I put up a poll on YouTube asking whether you like the name Drizard or Tavridge the best. It's going by the name, and Drizard won. So here's the character. It's not optimal, it's not going to be the best build out there, something a bit different. Who is Drizard Do'urTav? Urchin growing up on the streets, having a hard life, so they got sleight of hand and stealth proficiency. They are a drow, Loth-sworn drow, raised in Loth's cult in the city of Menzoberranzan. So the reason we've got drow though, mostly for dexterity +2 and proficiency in a rapier, short sword and hand crossbow. We've also got superior dark vision, which is never a bad thing. For appearance, I picked face 5, I picked this skin tone, ash tone 7, eye colour is red 3, hairstyle 10, tattoo style 13, makeup 4. I didn't even bother changing that. Class is wizard. Now for cantrips. Poor old Drizard here, growing up on the streets, managed to naturally learn shock and grasp to get out of the reach of people trying to catch him. Mage hand to help him with his thievery and rare frost and slow down would-be guards. For spells, most of these spells don't require intelligence at the moment. Also, chromatic orb, long strider and jump. I'm not sure if there are scrolls in the game with those 3 spells on, so this might be the only chance to learn them, and also at level up. Also picked up magic missile, false life and sleep. 2 of them are damaging. The rest are 3 of them are buffs. 1 of them is kind of a control spell. The prepared spells we can change whenever, and we get these proficiencies down here, which is standard for the wizard. Skills, from the background we get sleight of hand and stealth. From being a drow we get perception, and he's gonna pick arcana and insight. Arcana, clever little lad, hanging around the library in Menzoberranzan, if there is a library there. And so this is the stat spread. Poor charisma being the lowest, force of personality. Poor little Drizard got bullied as a kid. He's grown up now though. Naturally fairly intelligent and dexterous, and growing up on the street managed to survive because his constitution is quite hardy. During the course of his, we will be increasing intelligence. We'll probably be visiting Auntie Ethel, so we can get this up to +3, and then we'll see what happens at level 4, or maybe level 4 come first. That all depends. The in-game reason that Drizard didn't pick up Mage Armor or Firebolt is because in the very first room there is a corpse here with a scroll of Mage Armor, which you can use to learn from later, and then on this imp there's a scroll of Firebolt. So whenever you make a wizard, I would suggest never taking Firebolt or Mage Armor, because within a minute of starting the game you can get those on a spell scroll. Obviously we don't have any gold, well, I've got 2 gold. Don't have enough gold to learn them now, but we'll have enough gold to learn them soon enough. Now since your dexterity is very high, don't forget to pick up the light crossbow from this imp, and even wizards are proficient with light crossbows. However, this light crossbow will be replaced later. So for now, the light crossbow is probably going to be better at dealing pure damage than any of your cantrips. However, of course, the cantrips chosen, Shock and Grasp and Rare Frost, have other uses, because Rare Frost slows an enemy down by 10 feet, and Shock and Grasp prevents an enemy from taking reactions. I'm still on the Nautiloid, haven't even gone inside this upper floor yet, I haven't met Shadowheart. If you loot all of the dead bodies around and kill everyone around, you can find 2 short swords, which, because we're a drow, we can be wielding. So now our melee attacks aren't so bad. One downside to having a wizard, potentially melee, is always going to be their number of hit points. But that's one reason. Well, we've got false life. Also, at this point, I've got 96 gold, which is nearly enough to learn both of these scrolls, both Mage Armor and Firebolt. I'm going to learn Firebolt first. Doesn't matter which one you learn first, you'll easily find enough gold, and you can learn Mage Armor as well. Something I kind of stupidly forgot is there's always a scroll of false life on this table. You don't need to pick that at level 1. You could easily have picked up a different scroll or a different spell instead. So here Drizard is at level 2, just off the Nautiloid. We managed to kill Commander Zolt and the Mind Flayer, in fact. So at level 2 we get to pick our subclass. He's going to be Abjuration School. He's going to be giving himself extra hit points. Customize our spells. Well, I've just learnt Mage Armor, I know that. So pick, at this point, you could pick whatever spells you want. Maybe Burning Hands is good, and Thunderwave. Most of the remaining spells can be found on scrolls. I'm not sure Find Familiar can, so that might actually be a good choice. I'll switch out Burning Hands for Find Familiar. Of course, if you like the Evocation School more, go ahead, pick it. I don't think the school's too important for Drizard. Drizard's just happy to be an adventurer at this point. Out of the slums, he's not an urchin anymore. Drizard here is somewhat jealous, secretly jealous of Gale and his high society kind of pompous attitude. So he's going to tell him to remain in camp. Not quite brave enough to fight him, kill him, but is jealous enough to say, go away, stay at camp. Drizard and co have made it to level 3. 2 things to choose here are what spells to take. I am tempted to take some of the newer spells, such as Cloud of Daggers or Enlarge/Reduce. Unfortunately, they are both concentrations. I'm only going to take one of them for now, Enlarge /reduce, and then a second spell of your choice, whatever you like for your wizard. I'm going to go with Scorching Ray. Scorching Ray isn't such a bad idea because maybe we can get the Circlet of Fire later. Drizard is still level 3. We're inside the Druid's Grove. We found Damon, the tiefling blacksmith, who's selling a few wares. And here we come across our first fanciful ranged weapon, the hand crossbow. The idea is we're going to get 2 of these so we can dual wield them. And if you have taken the long rest immediately and come back, you've got the chance to find a second hand crossbow, which I'll take. Thank you very much, Damon. The reason to be dual wielding hand crossbows is that as a wizard, or any other class really, but as a wizard, we can cast a spell with our action as normal. And then, if you're feeling lucky, you can take a pot shot, take a random shot with your offhand attack. And this gives the wizards something else to do with the bonus action. Normally, wizards with the bonus action may be jumping, hiding, shoving, but it's not always necessary. And sometimes you have a bonus action left over, and now you've weaponized the bonus action. It's not going to do a great amount of damage, 1d6, but it's just this nice little extra option to have. At this point of the game, if you've come and killed Lump the Enlightened, the ogre, it is probably worth equipping Warped Headband of Intellect for now. It sets your intelligence to 17. We've got nothing else to put in the head slot, so you may as well increase your intelligence so you've got a better attack rolls with your spells and higher spell save DCs. When playing as Drizard, don't be afraid to use the Drow tag. He'll quite happily abuse the fact that his race is well feared and respected around the world. It's always pretty much worth it to get somebody in your party branded so you can wear the gloves of power. Drizard here can use his offhand ranged attack to try and inflict bane on enemies. We've also got Lae'zel here, forgetting how the principles of perspective work. While we're in the Goblin Camp in the Shattered Sanctum, there is another trader. Do keep an eye out for scrolls that you might want to learn, such as Misty Step, that's actually a useful one, and Mirror Image, and I'll leave Hold Person for now. It is also possible, although I haven't got it here, it is also possible to get hand crossbows from this trader as well, but it's a random thing that happens every long rest. So if you didn't find a hand crossbow in the Druid Grove, you might find one here. Drizard has had a hard life. He'll quite happily submit to Leviatar to get Leviatar's love. Maybe the only love he'll ever have in his life. So now we have Leviatar's love, and just after you receive it, usually, at least with the wizard, you'll have a low enough hit points that you've already got the condition on you. Drizard is quite likely to help Minthara, being of Drowkin, and he's probably going to submit to a more powerful, charismatic Drow than himself. And like any true urchin, there's free food up for grabs. Go and take it. Don't worry about where you are. Finally, Drizard is at level 4. For his choice of cantrip, he's going to pick Friends because he doesn't have very many and he wants to make some more, and he's read that this might be a way to do it, even if only for a short time. As for your spells, this is mostly up to you. Drizard here is going to take Cloud of Daggers and Flaming Sphere. They're both obviously concentration, so depending on the situation. The one thing to look out for is that when you get your choice of spells, it doesn't take out the spells you've learnt from a scroll. So Drizard definitely knows Mage Armor and Grease, and he recently learnt Mirror Image and Misty Step and Blur, but they're still here as options, so please be careful about which spells you pick. Then as for the feat, so we're going to put dexterity up to 18. But why, you ask? Why? Drizard is a wizard. Well, we'll be sorting out that intelligence later, and with this extra dexterity we get 1 extra armor class, 1 extra initiative, 1 extra attack bonus with all the ranged attacks and even melee attacks, 1 extra damage with all of those attacks, 1 extra to our dexterity saving throws. There's a reason why dexterity is sometimes called like the god stat inside Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It's one of the strongest stats because it affects so many things. And for now, our intelligence is at 17 because of the headband anyway. Other good choices, you could maybe increase your intelligence up to 16 and charisma up to 10, or put your strength up by 1. Dual wielder might be okay, it gets you an extra armor class, and you can dual wield rapiers. There's not much point in picking lightly armored because mage armor is about as good as most light armors in the game currently. I wouldn't pick any of the magic initiates, unless you really wanted to pick Magic Initiate Warlock for Hex. Mobile could be okay, increase your movement speed, and you can use your offhand attack to prevent opportunity attacks against you. Probably wouldn't pick any of the others. Drizard Do'urTav is going to pick Dexterity +2. The next thing you want to do is corner the hag in her lair and get her to a very low number of hit points, but don't kill her. And she'll beg for her life. Go on, let her explain, and then let her keep the girl. You take the power. You get some hair, lovely, but you can use as camp supplies if you want. Just let her go. And we get some Auntie Ethel's hair. And then before you do anything, you get a choice of hair, and you can have a +1 bonus to any stat you want. Now, for Drizard Do'urTav here, we're going to take a permanent +1 bonus to intelligence. He's not above, deals with hags. Also, guess it's a bug. We also get her hair that's +1 bonus to strength, which is going straight to Lae'zel to make her strength 18 with Great Weapon Master. Of course, this means you can get Lae'zel or any fighter, if you create one, any fighter to 20 strength. So let's do that. Highlight Drizard, just double click. Hair is consumed. And let's just check, make sure that this works. We can stick on the Key of the Ancients, whatever. And now, our intelligence is 16, which is probably the minimum stat you want for any main stat for any character. And then Lae'zel over here is going to eat the other hair. Don't know if it's a bug. Kind of assume it is. Now she's got her 18 strength. So at this point, Drizard Do'urTav is, in terms of stats, complete. But this does leave us with a few more items to get though. When you get to Walking's Rest, make sure you save Councillor Floric and you pick up the Circlet of Fire. Drizard doesn't need the Headband of Intellect anymore, so we can switch it out for the Circlet of Fire at this point. So the idea behind the Circlet of Fire is that when you cast a leveled spell, so not a non-cantrip, and it deals some fire damage, you get an extra bonus action. And with our bonus actions, we're going to shoot twice. And if we're kind of lucky, we will inflict Bane on the enemy. So not only are we dealing damage, but we're also kind of debuffing the enemy at the same time. While in the Underdark, you might consider picking up the Sapphire Spar. Although Drizard is already wearing Ilmater's Aid, if you prefer to not have 50% hit points or fewer, the Sapphire Spark will make a very good replacement. Now, since we are getting a bonus from fire damage and the Circlet of Fire, we also have the opportunity to use the Gloves of Flint and Steel instead of the Gloves of Power if you wish. And we will be stacking up something else with fire damage later as well. There seems to be a bug with Ilmater's Aid, at least with Magic Missile. Drizard is below 50% hit points. He used Magic Missile, level 1, did 2, 5 and 2, which adds up to 9. And then 4, 4 and 4, but when you hover over it, the damage roll is 1 plus 1. That shouldn't even come into it, plus 1, equals 4. 4 plus 1 equals 4, and 1 plus 1 equals 4. And I used it once again, and we've got the extra 1 force damage, 1 plus 1 equals 1, 4 plus 1 equals 1, 3 plus 1 equals 3. I cannot explain this apart from the fact that the rolls we see there are not actually the rolls being made. And if you come to the room where the Maragon and Hellsboar are, or Hellsboars are, in this chest we find a new hand crossbow called Fire Stoker. Deal an additional 1d4 piercing damage to burning targets. I'd say put this in your offhand, since you're probably going to be using this more. And now, what you want to be doing is using fire spells that set targets on fire. The main culprit will be Chromatic Orb. The last item you might be looking out for that will help you when you're dealing fire damage is the Ring of Fire. When dealing fire damage, the wearer deals an additional 1 fire damage. So going over all the most important equipment, we've got the Circlet of Fire, Gloves of Flint and Steel, or Gloves of Power if you wish, Ilmater's Aid, or maybe the Sapphire Spark. You only really need the Ring of Fire, the other ring is up to you. Plenty of good choices. He's got the Ring of Poison Resistance, 1 hand crossbow, and 1 Fire Stoker. The melee weapons, I haven't really talked about them. They're not so important. The idea for Drizard is that he's at range at all times. You could find a short sword +1, and I also found the short sword of First Blood, but I very rarely have used these melee weapons. I'm almost always using the hand crossbows. So I thought I'd come to the Githyanki Patrol to try this out. I've got the Bliss Spores from helping Spore, which is nice. Accidental. So even though I missed, set him on fire. Sadly, because I didn't hit with the spell, I didn't get an extra bonus action. However, he is burning. So if... it's not very likely, is it? If we hit with this... yeah. Do an extra 2 piercing damage. So I'm going to try again. It's the next round. After the Githyanki Raider. Hit him this time. Did some extra damage. Got 2 bonus actions. Oh, it's too far to reach from here. There we are. Had to use a bonus action and hit for 5 damage because he's burning. I wouldn't use sleep against a burning target, by the way, if anyone's wondering. But I can use it against the Gish. Now I'm going to try one more time. Ooh, look at that. Alright, failed a few saving throws there. Got some extra burning damage. So now I've got 2 bonus actions. Doing kind of a bit of extra damage with these offhand attacks. And then I'm going to use Scorching Ray. A few of which hit. And get some extra damage. And as before, we can take 2 offhand attacks. Well, we can't hit them all, can we? But Scorching Ray, of course, doesn't set the enemy on fire, which is why I was using Chromatic Orb before. You can, of course, throw Alchemist's Fire also. Throw it next to her. Oops, hit laser anyway. Now I'm out of bonus actions, so maybe I should have done that first. But there are a few ways to set people on fire. I'm sure using Grease and Fire would work as well. One nice thing about Burning Hands is that it casts guaranteed damage, even if it's not very much. It's where you can reliably get an extra bonus action. Ooh, well, can't get any high ground. Just want to point out that the Burned Alive thing from our hand crossbow Fire Stoker can get the extra damage from a critical hit. So the damage is starting to add up. If you feel like you're going to be using the short swords a bit more often and you want to go with the whole below 50% thing, the Githyanki short sword can give you extra 1d4 psychic damage. Do note that the Githyanki weapons are now not +1 weapons. They've lost that enchantment, gained the Psychic Vengeance ability instead. And I am going to equip that since on this particular tab I don't have any magical short sword there. So let me know what you think of Drizard. He has been fairly cowardly, quite selfish, a little bit evil. Always doing everything for his own gain. Would you use a Drow Wizard like this? There are plenty of good options at level 4. Let me know what feat you would take instead of just a +2 in Dexterity. Also let me know of any other ideas and how you would change Drizard here. There's quite a contortioned body there. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, please do consider subscribing and hopefully I will see you in the next one.